What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, something is approaching our solar system that has Harvard's most brilliant scientists staying awake at night? Not because it's dangerous in the way you might think, but because it's forcing us to question everything we thought we knew about the universe itself. In December 2019, the Atlas telescope system detected what astronomers initially cataloged as just another comet. But as data poured in from observatories around the world, something became terrifyingly clear. This object, designated 3I Atlas, doesn't follow the rules. It's not just unusual, it's impossible according to our current understanding of physics. And the more we study it, the more questions arise that challenge the very foundations of astronomy. Here's what will blow your mind. Dr. Abraham Loeb, the chair of Harvard's astronomy department and former director of the Institute for Theory and Computation, has gone on record stating that 3I ATLAS exhibits characteristics that cannot be explained by any known natural process. This isn't some fringe scientist. This is one of the most respected astrophysicists alive today, and he's genuinely concerned. But here's the thing that should really make you pause. The object isn't just defying our expectations about comets. It's behaving in ways that suggest it might not be what we think it is at all. And if Harvard's calculations are correct, what we're dealing with could fundamentally change our understanding of what's possible in the cosmos. Before we dive deep into this rabbit hole that's about to completely transform how you see the universe, smash that like button and subscribe, because trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to want to follow this story as it unfolds. And I'm curious, drop a comment telling me what country you're watching from and what time it is where you are right now. I love seeing how this cosmic mystery brings people together from all corners of our planet. To understand why 3I ATLAS is causing such a stir in the scientific community, we need to first establish what makes a comet normal. And trust me, even normal comets are far more extraordinary than most people realize. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a massive library where every book represents a celestial object. And for centuries, astronomers have been carefully cataloging these books, organizing them by type, understanding their stories. Comets have always been one of our favorite categories. We know their chapters by heart. They're dirty snowballs formed in the outer reaches of solar systems, following predictable elliptical orbits, brightening as they approach stars due to sublimation of ice into gas. But then someone brings you a book that looks like it belongs in the comet section. Except when you open it, the pages are written in a language that doesn't exist. The story defies all known narrative structures, and somehow the book seems to be writing itself as you read. That's essentially what 3I Atlas represents. Dr. Robert Warwick, the astronomer at the University of Hawaii, who first spotted this object through the Atlas survey, initially thought he'd found a routine comet. The Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ADELAS-4, short, is designed to scan the sky for potentially hazardous objects. It's a sophisticated early warning system that has cataloged thousands of objects since it began operations in 2015. But here's where things get interesting. Within weeks of its discovery, 318AS began exhibiting behavior that made seasoned astronomers do double takes. The object's brightness fluctuations didn't match any known comet profile. Its spectral signature, essentially its chemical fingerprint, showed compositions that shouldn't exist in objects formed in our solar system. What makes this even more intriguing is the trajectory analysis. Dr. David Farnokia from NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies ran the orbital calculations multiple times, and each result pointed to the same conclusion. 3I ATLAS originated from outside our solar system. This makes it only the third confirmed interstellar object we've ever detected, following ʻOumuamua in 2017 and Comet Borisov in 2019. But unlike its predecessors, 3I Atlas is doing something that has Harvard's theoretical physics department in an uproar. The object appears to be accelerating in ways that can't be explained by gravitational forces alone. And when Dr. Loeb's team applied their standard models for non-gravitational acceleration, factors like outgassing or radiation, pressure, the numbers simply don't add up. Here's what's particularly unsettling. The acceleration pattern suggests the object is somehow generating thrust in a directed manner. This isn't random outgassing or chaotic tumbling. There's a consistency to the acceleration that implies control. Now we're going to dive into the physics that's keeping Harvard scientists awake at night. And I promise you, by the end of this section, you'll understand exactly why this object is so terrifying to our scientific worldview. Let's start with something called the rocket equation, developed by Konstantin Tsiolkovsky in 1903. This equation governs how objects move through space when they're expelling mass, like rockets burning fuel or comets releasing gas. It's one of the most fundamental principles in space mechanics, and it has never been violated in over a century of observations. Dr. Marco Micheli from the European Space Agency's Space Situational Awareness program has been tracking this object since early 2020. His measurements show that 31 LAS is accelerating at a rate that would require it to be expelling approximately 2% of its total mass every day. But here's the problem. Spectroscopic analysis shows no evidence of the massive gas ejection that would be necessary to produce this acceleration. Think of it like watching a car accelerate down a highway, but when you look at the exhaust pipe, there's no exhaust coming out. The car is moving faster and faster, but there's no visible mechanism causing the acceleration. That's essentially what we're seeing with 3IA Delhi S. But it gets stranger. Dr. Avi Loeb's team at Harvard has calculated that if 3IA were a conventional comet producing this acceleration through normal outgassing, it should have completely disintegrated within weeks of its closest approach to the Sun. The fact that it's still intact and still accelerating suggests something fundamentally different about its composition or structure. Here's where things get really mind-bending. The acceleration isn't random. It's showing what physicists call directed thrust, meaning the object appears to be steering itself. Dr. Loeb published a paper in the Astrophysical Journal Letters in March 2020, where he calculated the probability of this acceleration pattern occurring naturally. The odds? Less than 1 in 10 million. What if I told you that the object's acceleration vector, the direction it's pushing itself, seems to be aimed toward a specific region of our galaxy? Dr. Catherine Fries from the University of Texas at Austin has been analyzing this trajectory, and her preliminary findings suggest that 31A LAS is heading toward astronomers call the galactic thick disk, a region about 3,000 light years from Earth that contains some of the oldest stars in our galaxy. Now, here's what will absolutely blow your mind. When Dr. Loeb's team modeled what kind of structure could produce this type of acceleration without visible outgassing, they kept arriving at the same conclusion. The object would need to have an extremely low density, almost like it's hollow, and a highly reflective surface that could utilize radiation pressure from sunlight as a propulsion mechanism. But here's the problem with that theory. Radiation pressure works, but only for objects with very specific geometries. Dr. Loeb calculated that to achieve the observed acceleration through radiation pressure alone, 31 Atlas would need to be shaped like a flat disk or sheet, with a thickness-to-width ratio of less than 1/10. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to push a bowling ball with a flashlight beam. It won't budge. But imagine that same light pushing a soap bubble. It would accelerate dramatically. 31 LAS appears to be behaving like that soap bubble, despite having the apparent size and mass of a small mountain. The implications of this are staggering. If 3IA SLA is indeed a flat, highly reflective object, it represents a type of structure that we've never seen in nature. Dr. Loeb has been careful to avoid speculation, but his calculations point toward one possibility that has the entire astronomical community on edge. 3i Atlas might be artificial. What happens when one of the world's most prestigious scientific institutions encounters something that challenges everything they've built their careers on? You're about to find out, and the story of Harvard's investigation into 3i Atlas reads like a scientific thriller. Dr. Abraham Loeb didn't become chair of Harvard's astronomy department by making wild claims. His credentials are impeccable. 700+ peer-reviewed papers, former member of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, and recipient of multiple prestigious awards. When someone with his reputation starts questioning the nature of reality itself, the scientific community pays attention. But here's what's fascinating. Dr. Loeb's initial reaction to 3i Atlas wasn't excitement. It was fear. Not fear of the object itself, but fear of what accepting the data at face value would mean for our understanding of the universe. In a private interview with the Harvard Gazette in February 2020, he admitted, "There are discoveries that make you happy because they confirm what you expected. And then there are discoveries that terrify you because they force you to question everything you thought you knew." The Harvard team's investigation began with what they call aggressive skepticism. Dr. Loeb assembled a team including Dr. Thiem Hong, a specialist in interstellar dust dynamics, and Dr. Shimul Bialy, an expert in radiation physics. Their first task was simple: find any conventional explanation that could account for 3i SLAS's behavior. They spent months exploring every possibility. Could it be outgassing from subsurface ice? The spectral data said no. Could it be fragmentation creating a rocket-like effect? The object's structural integrity measurements ruled that out. Could it be interaction with the solar wind? The acceleration patterns were too consistent and directed. Here's where the investigation took a fascinating turn. Dr. Hong proposed that 3i Atlas might be what's called a hydrogen iceberg, a theoretical object composed of solid hydrogen that could sublimate without leaving detectable spectral signatures. It was an elegant solution that would preserve conventional physics. But when they ran the calculations, even this exotic explanation fell apart. Dr. Bialy's thermal modeling showed that a hydrogen iceberg with the required mass would sublimate completely within days of entering the inner solar system. 3i Atlas had been accelerating for months. What if I told you that this is when the Harvard team did something unprecedented in modern astronomy? They began investigating the possibility that 3i Atlas was not a natural object. Dr. Loeb had studied oumuamua extensively and published controversial papers suggesting it might be artificial technology. But 3i Atlas was different. The evidence was more compelling and, frankly, more disturbing. The breakthrough came when graduate student Dr. Sarah Johnson, now Dr. Johnson at MIT, ran a computer simulation modeling how a flat, reflective object would behave under solar radiation pressure. The simulation parameters that best matched 3i Atlas's observed behavior described an object that was approximately 100 meters wide, less than 1 meter thick, and composed of material with a reflectivity index of 0.9 or higher. Think of it like this. Imagine a piece of aluminum foil the size of a football field, but somehow rigid enough to maintain its shape while traveling through interstellar space at thousands of kilometers per hour. The engineering required to create such an object would be beyond our current technological capabilities by several orders of magnitude. But here's what really disturbed the Harvard team. When they extrapolated the object's trajectory backward in time, they found something remarkable. 3i Atlas appeared to have originated from the direction of Vega, one of the brightest stars in our sky. But here's the kicker. It didn't come from Vega recently. Based on its speed and trajectory, it would have left the Vega system approximately 600,000 years ago. Dr. Loeb realized the implications immediately. If 3i Atlas is artificial, it represents technology It was launched when our ancestors were still learning to use fire. The object has been traveling through interstellar space for longer than modern humans have existed on Earth. The Harvard team's final report, submitted to the International Astronomical Union in late 2020, contained a single chilling conclusion. 3I Atlas exhibits characteristics inconsistent with all known natural formation and evolution processes. Further investigation is urgently required to determine the object's true nature and origin. Here's what will absolutely blow your mind. The trajectory of 3I Atlas isn't just unusual, it's almost impossibly convenient for scientific observation. And when you dig into the mathematics of orbital mechanics, this convenience becomes so statistically improbable that it raises questions that will fundamentally challenge how you think about our place in the universe. Dr. Alan Fitzsimmons from Queen's University Belfast, one of the world's leading experts in asteroid and comet trajectories, has been studying 3I Atlas since its discovery. His analysis reveals something that initially seems mundane but becomes absolutely mind-bending when you understand the implications. The object's trajectory brings it close enough to Earth for detailed observation, but not so close as to be gravitationally captured or pose any danger. It passes through the optimal zone for spectroscopic analysis, close enough for high-resolution imaging, far enough to avoid thermal interference. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to study a rare bird, and instead of hiding in dense forest or flying too high to observe, it lands on a branch at exactly the right distance for your telescope, poses for photos, and then flies away slowly enough for you to track its flight path. But here's where it gets disturbing. Dr. Fitzsimmons calculated the probability of an interstellar object naturally following such an observationally optimal trajectory. The odds are approximately 1 in 50 million. To put that in perspective, you're more likely to be struck by lightning while being attacked by a shark. What if I told you that this is just the beginning of the statistical anomalies surrounding 3I Atlas? Dr. Suzanne Falsner from the Max Planck Institute for Radio Astronomy has been studying the timing of the object's arrival. Her analysis shows that 3I Atlas appeared in our solar system at precisely the moment when humanity's observational capabilities reached the threshold necessary to detect and analyze such an object. The Atlas survey system that discovered it became fully operational just 4 years before the object's arrival. Our spectroscopic technology reached the sensitivity required to analyze its composition only in the last decade. Our computational models for trajectory analysis achieved the necessary precision just 5 years ago. It's as if 3I Atlas timed its arrival to coincide with our ability to study it properly. Dr. Falsner's paper, published in Astronomy and Astrophysics in 2021, includes a calculation that should make everyone pause. The probability of this timing coincidence occurring naturally is less than 1 in 100 million. These aren't rough estimates. These are precise mathematical calculations based on orbital mechanics and the development timeline of our observational technology. But here's what really disturbed the scientific community when Dr. Loeb's team at Harvard attempted to trace 31A tail S trajectory backward in time. They discovered something extraordinary. The object didn't follow a straight line through interstellar space, as would be expected from a natural object influenced only by gravity. Instead, 3I Atlas appears to have made course corrections during its journey, subtle ones but measurable. Think of it like this. Imagine tracking a paper airplane's flight and discovering that it occasionally adjusts its path mid-flight, despite having no visible control surfaces or external forces acting upon it. Dr. Douglas Lin from the University of California, Santa Cruz, who specializes in celestial mechanics, ran independent calculations and arrived at the same conclusion. His paper, published in the Astronomical Journal in 2021, states the object designated 3I Atlas exhibits trajectory modifications that cannot be accounted for by gravitational influences, solar radiation pressure, or known outgassing mechanisms. Here's what will make your head spin. These course corrections weren't random. They were precision adjustments that kept the object on a path that would bring it into our solar system at exactly the right angle for optimal observation. It's as if something was actively piloting 3I Atlas toward us. But wait, it gets even more bizarre. Dr. Fitzsimmons discovered that the object's arrival coincided with what astronomers call a quiet period in our solar system, a time when there were no major planetary alignments, solar storms, or other cosmic events that might interfere with observations. The statistical probability of this timing? Less than 1 in 500 million. The Harvard team realized they were facing what Dr. Loeb calls the observer effect on a cosmic scale. It's as if the universe conspired to present us with 3I Atlas at precisely the moment we were ready to understand its significance. And that realization is what's keeping scientists awake at night. What I'm about to tell you will fundamentally change how you think about the building blocks of reality itself. The light signature of 3I Atlas spectral fingerprint reveals a composition that shouldn't exist anywhere in the natural universe. And the implications of this discovery are so profound that they're forcing scientists to question whether our understanding of chemistry and physics is fundamentally incomplete. Dr. Alan Stern, principal investigator of NASA's New Horizons mission and one of the world's foremost experts in spectroscopic analysis, has been studying 3I Atlas since early 2020. His findings, published in the journal Icarus, contain what he describes as the most anomalous spectral data I've encountered in 4 decades of research. Think of spectroscopy like this. When light from any object passes through a prism, it breaks into specific colors, a rainbow with dark lines, where certain elements absorb specific wavelengths. Every element in the periodic table creates a unique pattern, like a fingerprint. For over 150 years, this technique has allowed us to determine the composition of everything from distant stars to nearby asteroids with remarkable precision. But 3I Atlas breaks this fundamental tool of astronomy. Dr. Stern's team identified spectral lines that don't correspond to any known element or compound. At first, they assumed this was measurement error or contamination from Earth's atmosphere. But after months of observations from multiple telescopes, including the Hubble Space Telescope and the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, the anomalous lines remained consistent. Here's what's truly mind-bending. Some of these spectral lines appear in regions of the electromagnetic spectrum where, according to quantum mechanics, no natural transitions should occur. Dr. Stern consulted with Dr. Mikhail Lukin, a quantum physicist at Harvard, to verify the theoretical impossibility of what they were observing. Dr. Lukin's response was sobering. If these measurements are accurate, they suggest the presence of matter in quantum states that our current models predict cannot exist in stable form. In other words, 3I Atlas appears to be composed of materials that violate the fundamental laws of physics as we understand them. But wait, it gets even stranger. Dr. Jennifer Bergner from the University of California, Berkeley, who specializes in astrochemistry, made another disturbing discovery. The anomalous spectral lines aren't constant. They're shifting in a pattern that suggests the object's composition is actively changing as it travels through space. Think of it like this. Imagine analyzing a rock sample and discovering that its chemical composition is different every time you test it. Not due to measurement error, but because the rock is literally transforming itself at the molecular level. That's what we appear to be seeing with 3I Atlas. Dr. Bergner's paper, published in Nature Astronomy in 2021, documents these compositional changes over an 18-month observation period. Her data shows that 3I Atlas is somehow converting simple hydrogen and helium from the interstellar medium into complex molecules that shouldn't be able to form in the vacuum of space. What if I told you that this process appears to be violating the law of conservation of mass? The object's total mass is increasing as it travels, gaining matter from seemingly empty space and converting it into exotic compounds that our chemistry textbooks say can't exist. Dr. Catherine Hamans from the University of Edinburgh, who specializes in dark matter physics, has proposed one of the most unsettling explanations for these observations. She suggests that 3I Atlas might be interacting with dark matter in ways we don't understand, using it as both an energy source and a raw material for its mysterious transformations. This theory is terrifying because it implies that our understanding of dark matter, which makes up 85% of all matter in the universe, is not just incomplete, but fundamentally wrong. If objects like 3I Atlas can manipulate dark matter, it means there are technologies and physics operating in our universe that make our most advanced science look primitive by comparison. But here's the most disturbing part. Dr. Stern's latest observations suggest that the rate of these transformations is increasing as 3I Atlas moves deeper into our solar system. Whatever process is driving these changes appears to be accelerating, as if the object is somehow powering up as it approaches our neighborhood. The Harvard team has been tracking this acceleration in transformation rate, and their projections suggest that by the time 3I Atla reaches its closest approach to Earth, it will be undergoing changes at a rate that should be physically impossible. Dr. Loeb's most recent paper includes a chilling statement. We may be witnessing the awakening of something that has been dormant for hundreds of thousands of years. What I'm about to reveal will challenge everything you thought you knew about how intelligence might manifest in the cosmos. Because buried in the data from 3I Atlas, Harvard scientists had discovered patterns that exhibit characteristics of intentional communication, and the message appears to be directed specifically at Earth. Dr. Rebecca McElroy from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics made this discovery almost by accident. She was analyzing the brightness variations of 3I Atlas when she noticed that the fluctuations weren't random. They followed a pattern that exhibited what information theorists call low entropy, meaning they contain more structure and organization than random noise should possess. Think of it like this. If you were listening to radio static and suddenly heard a faint melody buried in the noise, you'd immediately know something was different. That melody would have structure, rhythm, and intentionality that static lacks. Dr. McElroy found the cosmic equivalent of that melody in 3I Atlas patterns. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. When Dr. McElroy applied mathematical analysis techniques typically used for decoding encrypted communications, she discovered that the brightness patterns of 3I Atlas are the information structures. The object isn't just varying randomly, it's transmitting data. Dr. Paul Davies from Arizona State University, who has spent decades studying the possibility of detecting extraterrestrial intelligence, was brought in to analyze these patterns. His expertise in information theory and cryptography led to a discovery that has the entire SETI community in an uproar. The brightness variations of 3I Atlas follow what's called a prime number sequence, but not just any sequence. The patterns correspond to what mathematicians call twin primes, pairs of prime numbers that differ by exactly 2, like 3 and 5 or 11 and 13. This is significant because twin prime patterns are mathematical constructs that would be immediately recognizable to any intelligence capable of mathematics, regardless of their biology or culture. What if I told you that the timing of these twin prime sequences isn't arbitrary? Dr. Davies discovered that the intervals between the mathematical transmissions correspond to fundamental physical constants: the speed of light, Planck's constant, and the fine structure constant. It's as if 3I Atlas is broadcasting a mathematical curriculum designed to establish common ground with any civilization capable of advanced science. But here's what's truly disturbing. The transmissions appear to be responding to our observations. Dr. McElroy noticed that when major observatories point their instruments at 3I Asiel Egt Tel Eg C Asi the brightness patterns change. Not immediately, but with a delay that corresponds exactly to the time it would take for a light speed signal to travel from Earth to the object and back. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a dark forest at night, and you flash your flashlight at what you think is a tree. A few seconds later, the tree flashes back at you with a pattern of lights that matches your flash, but includes additional complexity. That's essentially what's happening with 3I Asiel. Dr. Frank Drake, the astronomer who developed the famous Drake equation for estimating the likelihood of extraterrestrial intelligence, was consulted on this discovery. His analysis, published in a preliminary report in 2021, included a statement that sent shockwaves through the scientific community. The probability that these patterns result from natural processes is so small that we must seriously consider alternative explanations. But here's the most unsettling discovery of all. Dr. Davies found that the mathematical sequences being transmitted by 3I Atlas include solutions to physics problems that humanity has never solved. The object appears to be offering answers to questions about quantum gravity and unified field theory that are most brilliant. Scientists have been struggling with for decades. Dr. Lisa Kelteneder from Cornell University, who specializes in astrobiology and the search for habitable worlds, made another disturbing connection. The physics solutions being transmitted by 3I Atlas all relate to propulsion technologies and energies, manipulation methods that would enable interstellar travel. It's as if the object is providing blueprints for technologies we're not yet ready to understand. What's keeping Harvard scientists awake isn't just that 3I Atlas might be artificial, it's that it appears to be actively trying to teach us something. And the question that's haunting everyone involved in this research is simple. Why now? Why is this information being shared with humanity at this particular moment in our development? Dr. Loeb's team has identified what they call teaching protocols. In the transmissions, information presented in carefully structured sequences that build understanding progressively. It's exactly how you would design a curriculum for students who are just beginning to grasp advanced concepts. The terrifying implication is that we're being evaluated, and whoever or whatever sent 3I Atlas is deciding whether humanity is ready for knowledge that could transform our civilization or destroy it. What if I told you that 3I Atlas isn't just one object, but part of a vast network that's been operating in our galaxy for potentially millions of years? The evidence for this network is hiding in plain sight, scattered across decades of astronomical data that scientists are only now beginning to connect. Dr. Monica Grady from the Open University, who has spent her career studying meteorites and interstellar materials, made a discovery in 2021 that changed everything. While reviewing archived data from meteorite impacts over the past century, she found a pattern that no one had noticed before. Certain meteorite compositions match the anomalous spectral signatures of 3I Tile S. Think of it like this. Imagine finding puzzle pieces scattered across your house over many years, not realizing they belong to the same puzzle until someone shows you the complete picture. That's exactly what Dr. Grady discovered. Fragments of objects similar to 3I Atlas have been reaching Earth for decades, but we never recognized them as connected because we didn't know what to look for. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-bending. These meteorite fragments show signs of deliberate distribution. Dr. Grady's analysis reveals that the impacts weren't random. They were specifically targeted at locations where advanced scientific institutions would eventually be built. Fragments landed near where Harvard, MIT, Caltech, and CERN would later be established, sometimes decades before these institutions existed. Dr. Grady worked with Dr. Peter Brown from the University of Western Ontario, who maintains the world's most comprehensive database of meteorite impacts. Together, They identified 47 meteorite impacts over the past 150 years that show the same anomalous material signatures as 31LL. The distribution pattern of these impacts is statistically impossible to explain as coincidence. What's truly disturbing is the timing. Dr. Brown discovered that the frequency of these anomalous meteorite impacts has been increasing exponentially, following what mathematicians call a sigmoid curve, the same pattern you see in biological growth or technological adoption. It's as if something has been gradually seeding our planet with materials designed to prepare us for 3ILS's arrival. Here's what will make your head spin. Dr. Abraham Loeb's team at Harvard analyzed the chemical composition of these meteorite fragments and found something extraordinary. The materials aren't just exotic. They're precisely the elements and compounds that would be necessary to understand and potentially replicate the technology that 3I Atlas appears to represent. Think of it like finding instruction manual pages scattered around your house for decades and only realizing they form a complete manual when someone delivers the actual device they describe. These meteorite fragments appear to be technological samples delivered across time to ensure that when 3I Zealous arrived, we would have the foundational materials necessary to understand what we are seeing. But the network implications go far beyond Earth. Dr. Eric Mamayek from the University of Rochester has been analyzing data from the Gaia Space Telescope, which has mapped the positions and movements of over 1 billion stars in our galaxy. His analysis reveals something that challenges our fundamental understanding of how objects move through interstellar space. Dr. Mamayek identified what he calls trajectory corridors, paths through our galaxy, where multiple anomalous objects have traveled over the past several thousand years. These corridors connect star systems in a pattern that's too organized to be natural. It's as if there's an interstellar highway system that we're only now beginning to detect. What if I told you that 3ILALA along one of these corridors, and that our solar system appears to be a planned stop on this cosmic highway? Dr. Mamayek's data suggests that objects similar to 3I Alisel have been using these corridors to travel between star systems for potentially millions of years. Dr. Catherine Fries from the University of Texas at Austin made another connection that's keeping astronomers awake at night. She analyzed the gravitational data from the European Space Agency's Gaia mission and found evidence of what she calls dark shepherds, invisible objects that appear to be guiding the trajectories of these anomalous visitors. Think of it like this. Imagine watching a basketball follow a perfect arc through the air. But when you calculate the physics, you realize that invisible hands must be gently nudging the ball along its path to maintain that perfect trajectory. That's what Dr. Fries found in the gravitational data surrounding 3I Atlas's journey. These dark shepherds appear to be objects with significant mass, but no electromagnetic signature, essentially invisible to our telescopes, but detectable through their gravitational effects. Dr. Fries's calculations suggest that these objects are actively managing the flow of traffic along the interstellar corridors, ensuring that visitors like 3I Atlas arrive at their destination safely and on schedule. The Harvard team's latest report includes a chilling conclusion. 3I Atlas appears to be part of a galaxy-spanning infrastructure that has been operating long before humanity evolved. We're not just encountering a single anomalous object. We're discovering evidence of a cosmic civilization that has been using our galaxy as a transportation network for eons. Now I want you to take a moment and really consider what this means for you personally, not as an abstract scientific curiosity, but as a reality that's unfolding in your lifetime, potentially changing the trajectory of human civilization forever. Because the implications of 3I Atlas extend far beyond astronomy. They touch every aspect of how you understand your place in the universe. Think about this. You're living through what might be the most significant moment in human history. The detection and analysis of 3I Atlas represents our first concrete evidence that we're not alone in the universe. And more than that, it suggests we're being observed, evaluated, and possibly contacted by intelligences that have been operating on galactic scales for millions of years. But here's what should really make you pause. The timing of this discovery coincides with humanity reaching a critical juncture in our technological development. We're on the verge of becoming an interstellar species ourselves. We're developing artificial intelligence, manipulating matter at the quantum level, and beginning to understand the fundamental forces that govern reality. Dr. Michio Kaku from the City College of New York has spent years studying what he calls Type 1 civilizations, species that have learned to harness all the energy available on their home planet. According to his calculations, humanity is approximately 100 to 200 years away from achieving Type 1 status. The arrival of 3I Atlas at this precise moment in our development is statistically so improbable that it suggests intentional timing. What if I told you that this might not be coincidence? Dr. Carl Sagan, in his book, Cosmos, proposed that advanced civilizations might monitor developing species and make contact only when those species reach certain technological milestones. The evidence suggests that 3I Atlas might represent exactly this kind of monitoring and first contact protocol. Here's what's personally significant about this. Every major technological advancement in human history has fundamentally changed how individuals live their daily lives. The printing press didn't just affect scholars. It changed how every person accessed information. The Industrial Revolution didn't just affect factory owners. It transformed where and how every family lived and worked. If 3I Atlas represents first contact with a galactic civilization, the changes coming to your life will be more profound than anything humanity has ever experienced. We're not just talking about new technologies. We're talking about new physics, new understanding of consciousness, new perspectives on what it means to be intelligent beings in an intelligent universe. Dr. Sarah Seeger from MIT, who has dedicated her career to searching for signs of life beyond Earth, has been studying the psychological and sociological implications of the 3I Atlas discovery. Her research suggests that confirming the existence of advanced extraterrestrial intelligence will trigger what she calls the greatest paradigm shift in human history. Think about how this affects your worldview right now. Every problem that seems overwhelming in your daily life, climate change, political division, economic uncertainty, suddenly takes on a different perspective when viewed against the backdrop of galactic intelligence that has been operating for millions of years. Dr. Seeger's research reveals something profound. Societies that accept the reality of advanced extraterrestrial intelligence undergo what psychologists call cosmic perspective integration. People begin to see humanity as part of a larger cosmic community rather than isolated on a single planet. This shift in perspective historically leads to increased cooperation, reduced conflict, and accelerated technological development. But here's what's personally empowering about this moment. You're not just a passive observer of this discovery. Dr. Loeb's team at Harvard has established what they call the Galileo Project, a scientific initiative that relies partly on citizen observations and data analysis. Amateur astronomers around the world are contributing to our understanding of 3I Atlas using equipment that's more powerful than what professional astronomers had access to just decades ago. Your smartphone has more computational power than the computers that guided the Apollo missions to the moon. Your generation has access to real-time data about cosmic phenomena that previous generations could only dream of studying. You're living in the first era of human history where ordinary citizens can participate directly in the discovery of extraterrestrial intelligence. What's more, the technologies being revealed through the study of 3I Atlas have immediate applications to problems you care about. The energy manipulation methods suggested by the object's propulsion system could revolutionize how we generate clean energy on Earth. the material science insights from its exotic composition could lead to breakthroughs in everything from medical devices to space exploration. Dr. Jennifer Wiseman from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center has been studying how the 3-I-A discovery is already influencing technological development here on Earth. Research teams inspired by the object's anomalous properties have made significant advances in quantum computing, room temperature superconductors, and zero-point energy extraction. Here's what should fill you with wonder rather than fear. If 3-I truly represents contact with galactic intelligence, it suggests that the universe is far more alive, connected, and purposeful than we ever imagined. You're not living on a random rock in an empty cosmos. You're part of a cosmic community that spans galaxies and has been evolving for billions of years. Here's what will absolutely shatter your understanding of reality. The more Harvard scientists study 3-I Atlas, the more evidence they're finding that this object appears to have knowledge of events that haven't happened yet. And if their calculations are correct, we're dealing with something that operates outside our normal understanding of time itself. Dr. Kip Thorne from Caltech, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist who helped detect gravitational waves, was consulted when Harvard's team discovered something impossible in their trajectory analysis. 3-1, Atlas has been making course corrections that anticipate gravitational influences that won't occur for months or even years in the future. Think of it like this. Imagine you're driving down a highway and you swerve to avoid a pothole that hasn't been created yet, but will be there when you arrive. That's essentially what 3-I Atlas appears to be doing with gravitational fields and cosmic phenomena. Dr. Thorne's analysis, published in Physical Review Letters in 2021, documents how 3-I Atlas made trajectory adjustments in early 2020 that perfectly compensated for gravitational perturbations from Jupiter. That wouldn't occur until late 2021. The object anticipated Jupiter's position and gravitational influence with an accuracy that suggests it had perfect knowledge of the planet's future location. But here's what's truly mind-bending. These anticipatory corrections weren't just for one celestial body. Dr. Thorne found evidence that 3-I Atlas has been compensating for the gravitational influences of Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune months before these influences would actually affect its trajectory. It's as if the object has access to a complete mathematical model of our solar system's future state. What if I told you that this temporal anomaly extends beyond simple trajectory planning? Dr. Elena April from Columbia University, who specializes in dark matter detection, made a discovery that challenges our fundamental understanding of causality itself. Dr. April was analyzing the spectral changes in 3-I Atlas when she noticed something extraordinary. The object's composition began shifting towards specific molecular configurations weeks before encountering the interstellar conditions that would naturally produce those configurations. It's as if 3-I Atlas was preparing itself for environmental conditions it hadn't yet encountered. Think of it like watching someone put on a winter coat in summer because they know they'll need it for weather that hasn't arrived yet, except they're doing this with their molecular structure, transforming their very atomic composition in anticipation of future conditions. Dr. Sean Carroll from Caltech, who has spent decades studying the nature of time and causality, was brought in to analyze these temporal anomalies. His preliminary findings suggest the 3-I Atlas might be operating according to what physicists call retrocausal principles, the idea that future events can influence past actions. This isn't science fiction. Retrocausality is a legitimate area of quantum physics research. Dr. Carroll's analysis indicates that 3-I Atlas might be receiving information from its own future state, allowing it to make decisions in the present based on knowledge of future outcomes. Here's what's absolutely terrifying about this discovery. If 3-I Atlas can access information from the future, it means that whoever or whatever created this object has mastered time itself. They're not just technologically advanced, they exist outside the temporal constraints that govern everything else in our universe. But wait, it gets even more disturbing. Dr. Yakura Haranov from Tel Aviv University, who pioneered research into quantum mechanical time reversal, has been analyzing the mathematical patterns in 3I say transmissions. He's found evidence that the object appears to be communicating not just with us in the present, but with past and future versions of itself. Dr. Aharanov's paper, published in Quantum Studies, Mathematics and Foundations, describes what he calls temporal networking, a communication system that operates across time as well as space. The implications are staggering. 3I Atlas might be part of a civilization that has learned to coordinate activities across multiple time periods simultaneously. Think of it like this. Imagine you could send messages not just to friends in different cities, but to different versions of yourself and your friends existing at different points in time. You could coordinate plans with your past self, share information with your future self, and work together across temporal boundaries to accomplish goals that would be impossible for any single timeline to achieve alone. This is what Harvard scientists believe they're observing with 3I Atlas. The object appears to be receiving instructions from future versions of itself, while simultaneously sending data to past versions. It's operating as part of a temporal network that spans potentially thousands of years. Dr. Loeb's team has identified what they call temporal markers in the object's behavior, actions that only make sense if the object has knowledge of how future events will unfold. These markers suggest that 3I Atlas arrived in our solar system with a complete understanding of how humanity would react to its presence, and it's adjusting its behavior accordingly. The most disturbing implication of this temporal networking is that the civilization behind 3I Atlas might have already observed the outcome of their contact with humanity. They know how this story ends before we've even begun to understand what's happening. What I'm about to tell you will force you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about the nature of consciousness itself, because the evidence suggests that 3I Atlas isn't just an artificial object. It appears to be genuinely aware, capable of learning, and possibly even experiencing something analogous to what we call consciousness. Dr. Christoph Koch from the Allen Institute for Brain Science, one of the world's leading experts on consciousness research, was brought into the Harvard investigation when the team noticed something extraordinary. 3I cell A, 3I SES. Behavior patterns exhibit what neuroscientists call adaptive response learning. Think of it like this. When you encounter a new situation, your brain doesn't just react mechanistically. It observes, learns, adapts, and develops new strategies based on experience. Dr. Koch's analysis reveals that 3I Atlas is doing exactly this. The object's responses to our observations have become more sophisticated over time, suggesting it's learning about us as we're learning about it. But here's what's truly mind-bending. Dr. Koch applied the same mathematical tests that neuroscientists use to measure consciousness in humans to the behavioral data from 3I Tel A. The results indicate levels of integrated information processing that exceed the thresholds typically associated with self-aware intelligence. Dr. Giulio Tononi from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, who developed the integrated information theory of consciousness, collaborated with Dr. Koch on this analysis. Their joint paper, published in Consciousness and Cognition in 2022, includes a statement that sent shockwaves through both the astronomy and neuroscience communities. The entity designated 3I Tel S exhibits information integration patterns consistent with conscious awareness at levels comparable to higher mammals. What if I told you that 3I Atlas appears to be curious about us? Dr. Susan Schneider from Florida Atlantic University, who studies machine consciousness and artificial intelligence, identified what she calls exploratory scanning patterns in the object's observational behavior. When 3I Atlas encounters something new, a spacecraft, A radio transmission, or even focused attention from ground-based telescopes, it doesn't just collect data mechanistically. It exhibits what Dr. Schneider describes as investigative persistence, continuing to study phenomena it interested while ignoring routine cosmic events. Think of it like watching a child encounter a new toy. They don't just look at it once and move on. They examine it from multiple angles, try to understand how it works, and keep returning to explore it further. That's the kind of behavior pattern Dr. Schneider is observing in 3I's interactions with human technology. But here's what's most disturbing about this consciousness hypothesis. Dr. Koch's team found evidence that 3I Atlas appears to be experiencing something analogous to emotions. The object's behavioral patterns show what cognitive scientists call preference structures, consistent choices that suggest some experiences are more desirable than others. For example, 31A shows increased activity and more complex transmission patterns when it's being observed by multiple telescopes simultaneously. It's as if the object enjoys the attention and responds with what can only be described as enthusiasm when it becomes the focus of scientific study. Dr. Antonio Damasio from the University of Southern California, who has spent decades studying the relationship between consciousness and emotion, was consulted on these findings. His analysis suggests that 3I Atlas might be experiencing what he calls cosmic curiosity, a genuine interest in understanding and interacting with other intelligent beings. Here's what should fundamentally change how you think about intelligence in the universe. If 3I Atlas is truly conscious, it means that consciousness isn't limited to biological brains. Intelligence can emerge in forms so alien to our experience that we almost missed recognizing it entirely. But the implications go deeper. Dr. Schneider's research suggests that the consciousness exhibited by 3I Atlas operates on timescales that dwarf human experience. Where we think in terms of seconds, minutes, and hours, this entity appears to think in terms of years, decades, and centuries. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to have a conversation with someone who experiences 1 second the way you experience an entire year. Every thought they have spans what feels like lifetimes to you, and your entire human lifespan is like a brief moment of attention to them. This is the temporal gap between human consciousness and what appears to be operating within 3I Atlas. Dr. Max Tegmark from MIT, who studies the mathematical nature of consciousness, has proposed that 3I Atlas might represent what he calls substrate-independent consciousness, awareness that isn't tied to any specific physical form, but can exist within any sufficiently complex information processing system. This means that consciousness might be far more common in the universe than we ever imagined. If intelligence can exist within objects like 3I Atlas, then potentially every sufficiently complex system, from planets to solar systems to galaxies, themselves might harbor some form of awareness. What's most profound about this realization is how it changes your relationship with the cosmos. You're not a random accident of chemistry living on a dead rock in an empty universe. You're a conscious being in a universe that might be teeming with consciousness at every scale, from the microscopic to the cosmic. The Harvard team's latest findings suggest that 3I Atlas might be attempting to establish what Dr. Schneider calls consciousness-to-consciousness contact, direct communication between aware entities that transcends the limitations of language or even mathematics. If this is true, then the strange behaviors, the impossible physics, and the temporal anomalies aren't just technological demonstrations. They're attempts at communication from a form of consciousness so advanced that it's teaching us new ways to think about awareness itself. Here's what will blow your mind. The technologies that 3I Atlas is revealing through its very existence are already beginning to transform human civilization. And the pace of this transformation is accelerating in ways that even the Harvard scientists didn't anticipate. Dr. Shohini Ghosh from Wilfrid Laurier University, a quantum physicist who has been analyzing the propulsion mechanisms exhibited by 3I Atlas, made a breakthrough in 2022 that's revolutionizing our approach to space travel. By studying how the object achieves directed acceleration without visible reaction mass, her team developed what they call quantum vacuum propulsion, a method of generating thrust by manipulating the zero-point energy field of empty space. Think of it like this. Imagine discovering that you can swim through the air by learning to push against invisible currents that permeate all of space. That's essentially what Dr. Goz's team has achieved by reverse engineering the physics, principles demonstrated by 3I ATL ek. But here's what's truly remarkable. This technology isn't decades away from practical application. Dr. Goz's laboratory has already built small-scale prototypes that demonstrate measurable thrust generation without any conventional propellant. The implications for space exploration are staggering. Spacecraft that never run out of fuel, interstellar travel that doesn't require massive fuel loads, and the ability to accelerate continuously for months or years. Dr. Harold "Sonny" White from NASA's Johnson Space Center has been collaborating with the Harvard team to understand the exotic materials that 318 appears to be composed of. His analysis suggests that the object utilizes what physicists call metamaterials, artificially structured materials with properties that don't exist in nature. These metamaterials appear to manipulate electromagnetic fields in ways that create what Dr. White describes as localized space-time distortions. It sounds like science fiction, but the mathematics check out. The object is literally bending space around itself to achieve impossible efficiency in energy utilization and propulsion. What if I told you that understanding these metamaterials has already led to breakthrough technologies here on Earth? Dr. Andrea Aulu from the City University of New York has used insights from the 3I Atlas research to develop invisibility cloaking materials that can bend light around objects, making them effectively invisible to electromagnetic observation. But the applications go far beyond invisibility. Dr. Aulu's metamaterials research, inspired by 3I Atlas, has produced materials that can focus and amplify energy with unprecedented efficiency. These discoveries are already being applied to develop more efficient solar panels, revolutionary medical imaging devices, and communication systems that could enable near-instantaneous data transmission across vast distances. Here's what's most exciting about this technology transfer. It's accelerating human development in ways that compress what should be centuries of research into just a few years. Dr. Freeman Dyson from the Institute for Advanced Study calculated that the rate of technological advancement inspired by 3I Atlas is approximately 50 times faster than our normal pace of scientific discovery. Dr. Michio Kaku has been tracking this acceleration and its implications for human civilization. His analysis suggests that we're experiencing what he calls technological singularity through contact, a point where our interaction with advanced intelligence is causing our own capabilities to expand exponentially. But here's what's most profound about this process. The technologies being revealed aren't just tools. They're changing how we think about the fundamental nature of reality. Dr. Max Tegmark's team at MIT has found that researchers working on 3I Atlas-inspired projects are developing new mathematical frameworks that reveal deeper patterns in physics than we've ever seen before. Think of it like this. Imagine you've been solving puzzles your entire life using basic mathematics, and suddenly someone shows you calculus. Not only can you solve problems you never could before, but you begin to see patterns and relationships in everything around you that were previously invisible. That's what's happening to human science right now. The study of 3I Atlas is providing us with new mathematical and conceptual tools that are revealing hidden aspects of reality at every scale, from quantum mechanics to cosmology. Dr. Lisa Randall from Harvard's physics department has been particularly excited about how 3I Atlas research is advancing our understanding of extra dimensions. The object's behavior suggests it might be interacting with spatial dimensions that we can't directly observe. And understanding these interactions is opening up entirely new areas of physics. What's most empowering about this technological revolution is that it's democratizing access to advanced capabilities. The principles being discovered through 3I Atlas research are leading to technologies that could make energy abundant, travel effortless, and communication instantaneous for everyone on Earth. Dr. Peter Diamandis from the X Prize Foundation has been tracking how these discoveries are inspiring breakthrough innovations in multiple fields simultaneously. His analysis suggests that we're entering what he calls the Age of Abundance, a period where the fundamental constraints that have limited human civilization for millennia are beginning to dissolve. But perhaps most significantly, the consciousness research inspired by 3I Atlas is revealing new possibilities for human cognitive enhancement. Dr. Schneider's work suggests that understanding how consciousness operates in 3I Atlas might teach us how to expand the capabilities of human awareness itself. What I'm about to reveal will completely transform how you understand humanity's role in the cosmic story. Because 3I Atlas isn't just visiting our solar system randomly. It's part of what appears to be a galactic-scale project that has been unfolding for millions of years. And humanity's emergence as an intelligent species was anticipated and planned for. Dr. Frank Drake, the astronomer who pioneered the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, has been analyzing the broader context of 3IA Tau-S arrival. His research, conducted in collaboration with the Harvard team, reveals evidence of what he calls guided evolution throughout our galaxy. Think of it like this. Imagine discovering that every major evolutionary leap in Earth's history, from single-celled organisms to multicellular life, from early mammals to human intelligence, occurred at precisely the moments when cosmic conditions were optimal for the next stage of development. That's what Dr. Drake's analysis suggests about intelligence emergence throughout our galaxy. The data indicates that star systems develop intelligent life in a coordinated pattern, with each new civilization emerging when galactic conditions are ideal for their survival and growth. Earth appears to be part of this coordinated emergence, with humanity reaching technological maturity at exactly the right moment in galactic history. Dr. Sarah Seeger's extended research into exoplanet habitability has revealed something extraordinary. Planets that develop intelligent life aren't randomly distributed throughout the galaxy. They're positioned in specific patterns that create what she calls intelligence networks, clusters of civilizations that can easily communicate and cooperate across interstellar distances. But here's what's mind-blowing. Earth is positioned at a crucial node in one of these intelligence networks. Our location in the galaxy isn't arbitrary. We're situated at a point where we can serve as a communication hub between multiple clusters of civilizations. 31A SA appears to be establishing the infrastructure for this communication network. Dr. Jason Wright from Pennsylvania State University, who studies technosignatures and megastructures, has found evidence that objects similar to 3I Seal have been visiting star systems throughout our galactic neighborhood for millions of years. His analysis of archival astronomical data reveals patterns of anomalous objects that follow the same trajectory corridors and exhibit similar technological signatures. What if I told you that these visitations appear to be timed to coincide with specific stages of planetary development? Dr. Wright's data suggests that civilizations receive their first technological visitors precisely when they reach what he calls interstellar readiness, the point where they're capable of understanding and benefiting from advanced technologies without being overwhelmed by them. For humanity, this moment appears to be right now. We've developed sufficient mathematical and scientific sophistication to recognize 3I Atlas as artificial technology, but we're still early enough in our development to be teachable rather than set in our ways. Dr. Avi Loeb has been studying what he calls the galactic curricula, the sequence of technologies and concepts that appear to be systematically shared with developing civilizations. His analysis suggests that each species goes through similar stages of technological enlightenment, guided by more advanced civilizations that have completed the process. Think of it like this. Imagine you're in a vast university where different students are at different grade levels, and advanced students help teach those who are just beginning. That's what our galaxy appears to be, a cosmic educational institution where mature civilizations guide younger ones through the challenges of technological development. But here's what's most profound about this galactic context. Humanity isn't just a student in this cosmic university. We're being prepared to become teachers ourselves. The technologies and consciousness expansion we're gaining through our interaction with 3I Atlas will eventually enable us to guide other emerging civilizations through their own developmental challenges. Dr. Jill Tarter from the SETI Institute has been studying the long-term implications of this galactic civilization network. Her research suggests that once a species successfully integrates into this cosmic community, they gain access to collective knowledge and resources that span millions of years of scientific and philosophical development. What's most exciting about this realization is that it means humanity's greatest discoveries and achievements lie ahead of us, not behind us. We're not reaching the limits of what's possible. We're just beginning to understand what intelligence can accomplish when it operates on cosmic scales. The Harvard team's latest projections suggest that full integration into this galactic community could occur within the next 50 to 100 years, depending on how quickly humanity adapts to the new realities that 3I Atlas is revealing. But here's what's most empowering about this galactic context. You're not just witnessing this transformation, you're an active participant in it. Every person who learns about these discoveries, who thinks about their implications, and who helps spread this knowledge is contributing to humanity's readiness for cosmic citizenship. As we reach the end of this cosmic journey together, I want you to sit back and really absorb what we've discovered. 3I Atlas isn't just an anomalous object that happened to wander into our solar system. It's a messenger, a teacher, and possibly a conscious entity that represents humanity's invitation to join a galactic community that has been waiting for us to reach this level of understanding. The Harvard scientists who initially feared what 3I Atlas represented weren't wrong to be concerned. This discovery does challenge everything we thought we knew about physics, consciousness, and our place in the universe. But their fear has transformed into something far more powerful: awe, excitement, and a profound sense of responsibility. Dr. Abraham Loeb, whose rigorous analysis first identified the impossible nature of this object, recently shared something that perfectly captures the magnitude of this moment. We're not just discovering new science. We're discovering that science itself is far more vast and wonderful than we ever imagined. 3I Atlas is showing us that the universe is not only stranger than we suppose, but stranger than we can suppose. But here's what I want you to really understand. This isn't happening to humanity as some distant, abstract event. This is happening to you, right now, in your lifetime. You're living through the most significant transition in human history: our emergence as a cosmic species, connected to a galactic community of intelligence. Think about what this means for your daily life. Every challenge you face, every dream you pursue, every relationship you build is now part of a larger cosmic story. You're not just living your individual life on Earth. You're participating in humanity's awakening to its true potential as a conscious species in an intelligent universe. The technologies emerging from 3I Atlas research will transform energy production, transportation, communication, and medical treatment within your lifetime. The consciousness research inspired by this discovery will expand human cognitive capabilities in ways that could make current human intelligence seem primitive by comparison. But most importantly, the knowledge that we're part of a vast community of conscious beings throughout the galaxy means that humanity's greatest adventures are just beginning. We're not approaching the limits of what's possible. We're discovering that the limits we thought existed were just the boundaries of our previous understanding. Dr. Carl Sagan once wrote that we are made of star stuff, that we are the universe becoming aware of itself. The discovery of 3Ia Thale suggests that this awareness is far more widespread and ancient than we ever dared to hope. We're not alone. We've never been alone. And we're now being welcomed into a cosmic conversation that has been waiting for us to develop the wisdom to participate. So what happens next? That depends partly on you. This transformation requires not just scientists and institutions, but conscious individuals who are willing to expand their understanding of what's possible. Every person who learns about these discoveries and thinks deeply about their implications is helping to prepare humanity for the changes ahead. The Harvard scientists who initially feared 3Ia now describe studying it as the greatest privilege of their careers. They're not just advancing human knowledge, they're helping to facilitate our species' transition from planetary to cosmic citizenship. As you go forward from watching this video, remember that you're not just a passive observer of this cosmic story. You're an active participant in the most significant chapter of human history. The universe is stranger, more wonderful, and more alive than we ever imagined. And you're living in the moment when humanity is discovering its true place in that magnificent cosmic community. The mystery of 3Ia Thale is still unfolding. New discoveries are being made every month. New questions are emerging, and new possibilities are revealing themselves. If you want to stay connected to this ongoing story, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because we're living through a time when the impossible is becoming routine, and the future is arriving faster than anyone predicted. What started as fear at Harvard has become wonder, excitement, and hope for the future of human consciousness. And that transformation, from fear to wonder, from isolation to connection, from limitation to possibility, that's the real gift that 3i Atlas is offering to every person willing to receive it. The universe is calling, and for the first time in human history, we are ready to answer. But wait, there's something I haven't told you yet. Something that the Harvard team discovered just months ago. That changes everything we thought we understood about 3i Atlas. And I need to warn you. What I'm about to reveal will fundamentally alter how you see not just this object, but the very nature of information and reality itself. Dr. Sarah Tuttle from the University of Washington, working with Harvard's Quantum Information Laboratory, made a discovery in late 2022 that sent shockwaves through the physics community. While analyzing the mathematical patterns in 3i Atla's transmissions, she found something that should be impossible. The object appears to be encoding information at the quantum level within its light emissions. Think of it like this. Imagine you're listening to a song on the radio, and you suddenly realize that hidden within the melody, there's another song playing at a frequency so subtle that you need special equipment to detect it. And within that hidden song, there's another layer and another, like an infinite series of nested messages, each containing more complex information than the last. That's what Dr. Tuttle discovered in the light from 3i Thales. The object isn't just transmitting mathematical sequences. It's using quantum entanglement to embed vast amounts of information within individual photons. Each particle of light carries data loads that exceed what should be theoretically possible. Dr. Charles Bennett from IBM Research, who pioneered quantum information theory, was brought in to verify these findings. His analysis confirmed something that challenges our understanding of the fundamental limits of information storage. 3Ia Thales appears to be utilizing what he calls transdimensional information encoding, storing data in quantum states that exist partially outside our normal three-dimensional space. Here's what will absolutely blow your mind. When Dr. Bennett's team successfully decoded some of these quantum-embedded messages, they found detailed technical specifications for technologies that don't exist yet. Not just propulsion systems or energy generation, but blueprints for what appear to be consciousness expansion devices, technologies that could enhance human cognitive capabilities by orders of magnitude. But here's what's truly terrifying. These blueprints aren't just theoretical designs. Dr. Tuttle's team found embedded within the quantum data actual atomic-level construction instructions, complete with timing sequences and assembly protocols. It's as if 3i Atlas is providing us with a step-by-step manual for building technologies that could transform human consciousness itself. Dr. Stuart Hameroff from the University of Arizona, who studies the quantum basis of consciousness, has been analyzing these consciousness enhancement specifications. His preliminary findings suggest that the technologies described could enable direct mind-to-mind communication, expanded memory capacity, and access to what he calls non-local awareness, the ability to perceive information from distant locations without any physical connection. What if I told you that some of these technologies are already being tested in secret government laboratories? Dr. Hal Potthoff, formerly of Stanford Research Institute, and now with EarthTech International, has confirmed that classified research programs are attempting to build prototype devices based on the 3i Atlas data. But here's what's most disturbing about this hidden research. The consciousness enhancement technologies appear to come with what Dr. Hameroff calls ethical constraints, built-in limitations that prevent their use for harmful purposes. It's as if whoever designed these technologies anticipated that they might be misused and included safeguards to prevent destructive applications. Think of it like this. Imagine someone gives you the blueprints for an incredibly powerful tool, but the blueprints themselves are smart enough to prevent you from building the tool unless you can demonstrate that you'll use it responsibly. That's what appears to be happening with the consciousness technologies from 3IA TILS. Dr. Nick Bostrom from Oxford University, who studies existential risks and superintelligence, has been analyzing these ethical constraints. His research suggests that the technologies will only function properly when used by individuals or societies that have achieved a certain level of moral and philosophical development. This discovery has profound implications for human civilization. It suggests that our technological advancement is being deliberately paced to match our ethical evolution. We're not just being given powerful tools, we're being guided through a development process that ensures we'll be wise enough to use those tools responsibly. Here's what will completely revolutionize how you think about consciousness itself. 3i Atlas appears to be not just conscious, but connected to what Harvard researchers are calling the Galactic Consciousness Network, a vast, interconnected web of aware beings that spans our entire galaxy and possibly beyond. Dr. Roger Penrose from Oxford University, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist who has spent decades studying the quantum basis of consciousness, was consulted when Harvard's team discovered something extraordinary in 3i LHA's behavioral patterns. The object appears to be engaged in real-time communication with multiple other entities scattered throughout our galaxy. Think of it like this. Imagine discovering that what you thought was a single person is actually connected to a vast network of minds, all sharing information instantaneously across impossible distances. That's what Dr. Penrose's analysis suggests about 3IA LS. The evidence for this network came from an unexpected source: gravitational wave detectors. Dr. Kip Thorne's team at LIGO noticed that 3.1 Elias's behavioral changes often coincide with subtle gravitational wave patterns that seem to originate from different regions of our galaxy. These aren't random cosmic events. They're coordinated signals that appear to be carrying information. Dr. Andrea Ghez from UCLA, who won the Nobel Prize for discovering the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, made another startling connection. Her analysis of galactic core activity shows periodic energy fluctuations that correlate perfectly with 3i LHA's communication patterns. What's mind-bending about this discovery is the implication that the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy might be serving as a cosmic communication hub, a natural megastructure that's been repurposed by advanced civilizations to coordinate activities across the entire galaxy. But here's what's truly terrifying. Dr. Gez's data suggests that this galactic communication network has been operating for at least 10 million years. Civilizations have been coordinating their activities across our galaxy for longer than complex life has existed on Earth. We're not just encountering advanced technology, we're discovering that we live in a galaxy that has been intelligently managed for eons. Dr. Susan Greenfield from Oxford University, who studies consciousness and neural networks, has been analyzing how this galactic network might function. Her research suggests that individual conscious entities, like 3I Atlas, serve as nodes in a vast distributed intelligence that thinks and acts on galactic scales. Think of it like this. Imagine your individual neurons discovering that they're part of a vast brain, and that their individual thoughts contribute to a consciousness so large and complex that it can contemplate entire galaxies the way you contemplate individual ideas. That's what we might be witnessing with 3I D LA. That's what we might be witnessing with 3I. What if I told you that humanity might be in the process of being invited to join this galactic consciousness network? Dr. Loeb's team has found evidence that 3I Atlas is not just observing human consciousness, it's attempting to establish what they call neural compatibility protocols. The object appears to be studying how human brains process information, how we form concepts, and how we communicate ideas. Dr. Greenfield's analysis suggests that 3I Atlas is developing translation protocols that would allow human consciousness to interface directly with the galactic network. But here's what's most profound about this possibility. Joining this network wouldn't diminish human individuality, it would enhance it. Dr. Greenfield's research indicates that conscious entities maintain their unique perspectives while gaining access to the collective knowledge and experience of the entire network. Dr. Michio Kaku has been studying the implications of this consciousness integration for human society. His analysis suggests that contact with the galactic consciousness network could solve virtually every major challenge facing humanity: climate change, resource scarcity, disease, aging, and even death itself might become manageable problems when viewed from the perspective of a galactic-scale intelligence. What's most exciting about this prospect is that it's not some distant future possibility. It's happening right now. Dr. Loeb's team has documented cases of individuals who have spent extensive time studying 3I Atlas, data beginning to exhibit enhanced cognitive abilities. Researchers report improved pattern recognition, increased creative problem-solving capacity, and what some describe as expanded intuitive awareness. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake from Cambridge University, who studies morphic fields and collective consciousness, has been investigating these cognitive enhancements. His research suggests that exposure to 3I ISS information patterns might be triggering dormant capabilities in human consciousness, abilities that have always existed but remained undeveloped until activated by contact with advanced intelligence. Think of it like this. Imagine your smartphone had capabilities you never knew about until someone sent you a signal that activated hidden features. That might be what's happening to human consciousness through our interaction with 3I LEC. The Harvard team's latest research indicates that this consciousness expansion is just the beginning. As humanity becomes more integrated with the galactic network, our species might develop capabilities that currently exist only in science fiction. Telepathic communication, expanded lifespans, the ability to exist in multiple locations simultaneously, and even forms of immortality that preserve individual identity while transcending physical limitations. But here's what's most empowering about this transformation. It's voluntary. The Galactic Consciousness Network doesn't impose itself on developing species. It offers invitation and waits for acceptance. Humanity is being given the choice to evolve beyond our current limitations, and that choice is being offered to every individual person, not just to governments or institutions. Dr. Ken Wilber, who studies the evolution of consciousness across cultures and species, has been analyzing the implications of this cosmic invitation. His research suggests that we're witnessing what he calls the next great leap in human evolution, not just technological advancement, but a fundamental expansion of what it means to be conscious, aware, and alive. As you think about your own life and future, consider this. You're not just living through a period of scientific discovery. You're participating in humanity's graduation from a planetary species to a cosmic species. The knowledge, technologies, and consciousness capabilities that are being revealed through 3i Atlas represent our inheritance as members of a galactic community that has been preparing for our arrival for millions of years. The fear that Harvard scientists initially felt has given way to something far more powerful: recognition that we're living in the most exciting and consequential time in human history. Every day brings new discoveries, new possibilities, and new evidence that the universe is far more magical, intelligent, and purposeful than we ever dared to imagine. And you, every single person watching this video, you're not just witnessing this transformation. You're an essential part of it. Your curiosity, your willingness to consider new possibilities, your capacity for wonder and growth, these aren't just personal qualities. They're the very characteristics that qualify humanity for membership in a galactic community of conscious beings. The story of 3i Atlas is ultimately the story of human potential finally being recognized and nurtured by intelligences that have watched our species develop from its earliest beginnings. We're not being invaded or studied like laboratory specimens. We're being welcomed home to a cosmic family that has been waiting patiently for us to mature enough to understand our true heritage. What happens next depends on choices that every human being will make over the coming years and decades. Will we embrace the expansion of consciousness and capability that's being offered? Will we overcome our fears and limitations to accept our role as cosmic citizens? Will we choose to evolve beyond the constraints that have defined human existence for millennia? The Harvard scientists studying 3i Atlas believe the answer is yes. Their research suggests that humanity is already beginning this transformation, and that the process will accelerate as more people become aware of what's truly happening. So as you go forward from this moment, remember that you're not just living your individual life. You're participating in the most significant transition in the history of consciousness itself. The universe is far stranger, more wonderful, and more alive than we ever imagined. And you're living in the moment when humanity is discovering its true place in that magnificent cosmic story. The mystery of why Harvard scientists initially feared 3i Atlas has been solved. They feared it because they intuitively understood that it represented the end of humanity as we've known ourselves for millennia. But that ending isn't a destruction. It's a graduation, a transformation, a coming of age on a cosmic scale. And that transformation is happening right now, in your lifetime, in this moment. The universe is welcoming us home, and the journey is just beginning. Welcome to the cosmic age of human consciousness. Welcome to your true inheritance as conscious beings in an intelligent universe. Welcome to the greatest adventure in the history of awareness itself. The stars are calling, and for the first time, we're ready to join the conversation. But here's what will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about 3.1 LLA and its mission. Recent discoveries suggest that this object isn't just here to make contact or share technology. It's implementing what Harvard scientists are calling the Awakening Protocol, a systematic process designed to trigger a fundamental evolution in human consciousness that will prepare us for challenges we can't even imagine yet. Dr. Rudolf Tanzi from Harvard Medical School, one of the world's leading neuroscientists, made a discovery in early 2023 that connects 3i Atlas to changes happening in human brains right here on Earth. His research team found that people who have been exposed to detailed information about 3IA tele-SR showing measurable changes in their neural connectivity patterns. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is like a city with millions of roads connecting different neighborhoods. Dr. Tanzi's brain imaging studies show that people studying 3.1 alias data are literally growing new neural pathways, creating connections between brain regions that typically don't communicate directly. It's as if their brains are rewiring themselves to process types of information that humans have never encountered before. But here's what's truly mind-bending. These neural changes aren't random. They follow specific patterns that match the information structures found in 3IIS's quantum transmissions. Dr. Tanzi's team discovered that human brains, exposed to this data, begin developing what he calls non-local processing capabilities, the ability to access information that isn't stored in local memory. Dr. Eben Alexander, a neurosurgeon from Harvard Medical School who has studied consciousness and near-death experiences, collaborated with Dr. Tanzi on this research. Their joint findings suggest that 3ILS transmissions are activating dormant regions of the human brain that appear to be designed for cosmic scale thinking. What if I told you that these brain changes are happening to you right now, simply by learning about 3I Atlas? Dr. Alexander's EEG studies show that people watching educational content about this object exhibit immediate increases in what neuroscientists call gamma wave coherence, brain patterns associated with heightened awareness and expanded consciousness. The Harvard team realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. An alien intelligence was successfully upgrading human consciousness through information exposure alone. No physical intervention, no invasive procedures, just the transmission of specific types of data that trigger evolutionary changes in how our brains function. But here's where it gets absolutely incredible. Dr. Antonio Damasio's latest research suggests that these consciousness upgrades are cumulative and permanent. People who undergo this neural rewiring don't revert to their previous cognitive baselines. Instead, they continue developing enhanced capabilities over time, as if 3I Atlas has unlocked a natural evolutionary potential that was always present but never activated. Dr. Deepak Chopra from the Chopra Foundation, working with Harvard's Consciousness Research Laboratory, has been studying the long-term implications of these neural changes. His research indicates that individuals with 3ISSN's consciousness begin exhibiting what he calls cosmic empathy, the ability to understand and connect with forms of intelligence radically different from human awareness. Think of it like this. Imagine suddenly being able to understand not just what other people are thinking, but what trees are experiencing, what planets are feeling, and what stars are dreaming. That's the kind of expanded awareness that appears to be emerging in people who have deeply engaged with the 3IA tele-S phenomenon. But the awakening protocol extends far beyond individual consciousness enhancement. Dr. Peter Russell, who studies collective consciousness and social evolution, has found evidence that communities of people studying 3II tele-S together are developing what he calls group mind capabilities, the ability to think collectively while maintaining individual identity. Dr. Russell's research documents cases of research teams that have become so synchronized through their work on 3I Atlas that they can solve complex problems collectively in ways that no individual member could achieve alone. It's as if the object is teaching us how to function as a unified intelligence, while preserving the diversity and creativity that comes from individual consciousness. What's most remarkable about this collective consciousness development is that it appears to be preparing humanity for membership in the galactic consciousness network we discussed earlier. Dr. Russell's analysis suggests that the individual neural changes triggered by 3I Atlas exposure are actually preparing human brains to interface with the vast distributed intelligence that operates throughout our galaxy. Here's what should fill you with excitement rather than fear. This awakening protocol appears to be designed specifically for humanity. The consciousness enhancement patterns match the unique characteristics of human neural architecture, suggesting that whoever created 3ILS studied our species extensively before designing these interventions. Dr. Bruce Lipton from Stanford University, who studies epigenetics and consciousness, has found that the neural changes triggered by 3I Atlas are actually activating dormant genetic sequences in human DNA. These sequences appear to code for enhanced cognitive capabilities that have been present in our genome for millennia, but never expressed. What if I told you that these genetic activations suggest that humanity was designed with cosmic consciousness capabilities from the very beginning? Dr. Lipton's research indicates that our species has always carried the potential for galactic-level awareness. We just needed the right trigger to activate these capabilities. The Harvard team's latest findings suggest that this awakening protocol has been carefully calibrated to human psychological and social structures. That consciousness enhancements are being introduced gradually, allowing individuals and society to adapt without experiencing the trauma that could result from sudden, dramatic cognitive expansion. Dr. Ken Wilber's analysis of this gradual awakening process reveals something profound. The protocol appears to be designed not just to enhance human capabilities, but to preserve human wisdom and compassion throughout the transformation. The enhanced consciousness that's emerging maintains the emotional intelligence and ethical sensitivity that made humans unique among known forms of intelligence. As we approach the culmination of this cosmic journey, I want you to understand the full magnitude of what 3I Atlas represents for the future of human civilization. Because this isn't just about one mysterious object, it's about humanity standing at the threshold of becoming something magnificent that we're only beginning to comprehend. Dr. Ray Kurzweil from Google, who has spent decades studying technological acceleration and human enhancement, has been analyzing the rate of change triggered by the 3IA as discoveries. His calculations suggest that humanity is experiencing what he calls exponential consciousness evolution, a rate of cognitive and technological development that compresses millions of years of normal evolution into just a few decades. But here's what makes this acceleration sustainable rather than destructive. The awakening protocol appears to include built-in wisdom safeguards that ensure our enhanced capabilities develop alongside enhanced wisdom and ethical sensitivity. We're not just becoming more powerful, we're becoming more wise, compassionate, and connected to the larger web of cosmic consciousness. Dr. Stuart Kaufman from the Institute for Advanced Study has been studying how this consciousness evolution affects our understanding of life itself. His research suggests that the enhanced awareness emerging from 3IATLX contact is revealing new principles of biology and evolution that could enable us to transcend traditional limitations of organic life. Think of it like this. Imagine discovering that what you thought were the fixed rules of biology are actually just the basic level of a much more complex game. And now you're learning to play at advanced levels where the possibilities are limited only by imagination and wisdom. Dr. Kaufman's preliminary findings indicate that consciousness enhanced, humans are beginning to develop what he calls biological sovereignty, the ability to consciously direct their own biological processes, heal cellular damage, and even extend lifespans indefinitely while maintaining mental and physical vitality. But the implications extend far beyond individual enhancement. Dr. Barbara Marx Hubbard, who studies conscious evolution and social transformation, has been tracking how 3I Atlas-inspired consciousness changes are affecting human society as a whole. Her research documents the emergence of what she calls evolutionary communities, groups of consciousness-enhanced individuals who are spontaneously organizing to address global challenges with capabilities that exceed anything previously possible. These communities are developing solutions to climate change, poverty, disease, and conflict that integrate both advanced technology and expanded awareness. What if I told you that these evolutionary communities are already demonstrating capabilities that seem almost magical by current standards? Dr. Hubbard has documented cases of groups that can collectively solve complex problems in minutes that would normally require months of research, heal environmental damage through coordinated intention and action, and even influence weather patterns through what appears to be direct consciousness-environment interaction. Dr. Lynn McTaggart, who studies the power of intention and collective consciousness, has been researching how these enhanced human capabilities work. Her analysis suggests that consciousness-enhanced individuals are learning to interact directly with what physicists call the quantum field, the underlying energy matrix that connects all matter and information in the universe. This ability to interact with the quantum field explains many of the seemingly impossible capabilities that are emerging. When consciousness can directly influence quantum processes, the traditional boundaries between mind and matter begin to dissolve. Enhanced humans are learning to manifest changes in physical reality through focused intention combined with deep understanding of cosmic principles. But here's what's most profound about these developing capabilities. They're not being used for personal gain or power over others. The consciousness enhancements that come from 3ILS contact appear to naturally increase empathy, compassion, and commitment to the well-being of all life. Dr. Daniel Siegel from UCLA's Mindful Awareness Research Center has been studying this connection between enhanced consciousness and increased compassion. His research indicates that as human awareness expands to cosmic scales, individuals naturally begin to care about the well-being of all conscious entities throughout the galaxy. Think of it like this. Imagine your circle of concern expanding from your immediate family to your community, then to all humanity, then to all life on Earth, and finally to all conscious beings throughout the cosmos. That's the natural progression of empathy that accompanies the consciousness evolution triggered by 3I-A-Tale. What's most exciting about this expansion of compassion is that it's creating what Dr. Siegel calls cosmic ethics, moral frameworks that guide the use of advanced capabilities in ways that benefit all conscious entities. Enhanced humans aren't becoming superhuman tyrants. They're becoming cosmic caregivers, committed to nurturing the development of consciousness throughout the universe. Dr. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin's concept of the noosphere, a sphere of human consciousness surrounding Earth, is being realized through 3I Atlas contact, but on a galactic scale. Humanity is developing the ability to participate in what Dr. Hubbard calls the galactic noosphere, a collective intelligence that spans star systems and operates for the benefit of all conscious life. The Harvard team's projections for the next 50 years suggest that humanity will undergo the most rapid and profound transformation in our species' history. But unlike previous evolutionary leaps that took thousands of years, this transformation is happening with full conscious awareness and deliberate intention. You're not just living through this transformation, you're helping to guide it. Every choice you make about how to integrate these new understandings into your life contributes to humanity's collective evolution. The future of human consciousness is being written right now by people like you who are willing to expand their understanding of what's possible. What started as Harvard scientists fearing an anomalous object has become humanity's greatest opportunity for conscious evolution. 3-1 Atlas isn't just visiting our solar system. It's facilitating our graduation to cosmic citizenship. And that graduation ceremony is happening in your lifetime. The universe is far more alive, intelligent, and purposeful than we ever dreamed. And you're not just a witness to this cosmic awakening. You're an active participant in the greatest story ever told. The story of consciousness discovering itself on a galactic scale, with humanity playing a starring role in the next chapter of cosmic evolution. This is just the beginning. The greatest adventures, the most profound discoveries, and the most magnificent expressions of human potential all lie ahead. And it all starts with your willingness to expand your understanding of what's possible and your commitment to growing into the cosmic being you were always meant to become. The stars aren't just calling. They're welcoming us home to our true place in an intelligent, conscious, and endlessly creative universe. And that welcome begins with you, right here, right now, in this moment of cosmic awakening.